First they banned what you could wear. Now they're coming for what you can believe. Quebec calls it the next step in secularism. Critics call it something else, an assault on conscience dressed up as policy. As the province drafts new amendments to strengthen Bill 21, rumors swirl of an even stricter regime. Public workers forced to remove faith symbols, faith gatherings restricted, and the government claiming this is the price of neutrality. But neutrality isn't silence. And freedom that must hide itself is no freedom at all. Today, on Truth North, we investigate the politics, the policy, and the quiet campaign to erase visible faith from public life. Chapter 1. The Roots of Secular Power. Bill 21 began as a promise to separate church and state. In 2019, Quebec's government introduced the Act respecting the laicity of the state, banning public sector workers, teachers, police, judges, from wearing visible religious symbols. The province argued it was protecting equality, but the reality was division. Crosses came down, turbans disappeared, hijabs became political weapons. Supporters said the law defended secularism. Opponents saw it as codified discrimination. And yet, the law survived, protected by the notwithstanding clause, a legal shield that allows Quebec to override sections of Canada's Charter of Rights and Freedoms for 5 years at a time. Now, with the clause set for renewal, the government isn't backing down. It's doubling down. Officials whisper about Bill 21 2.0, a tightened version meant to clarify enforcement, expand the list of affected positions, and ensure compliance at all levels of public service. In other words, more restrictions, less faith. Chapter 2. The Quiet Expansion. Behind closed doors, bureaucrats are drafting updates that could extend the secular rulebook far beyond classrooms and courthouses. Under the proposed changes, the definition of public authority would broaden, capturing contract workers, daycare staff, even university instructors paid with public funds. Municipalities could be forced to mirror the provincial standard. Religious clothing bans could apply to city clerks, transit employees, and nurses in state-funded hospitals. The government's logic is simple. If one sector must appear neutral, all must. But neutrality in their vocabulary means invisibility. A cross around a neck, a head covering, a pendant, a Star of David, all could fall under visible religious display. The irony is that Quebec's flag itself bears a fleur-de-lis, a Catholic symbol from the province's own heritage. In trying to erase religion, Quebec may be erasing itself. Chapter 3. Numbers behind the policy. To understand the reach of Bill 21, follow the data. Over 150,000 Quebecers work in the public sector under direct coverage of the existing law. That includes roughly 90,000 teachers, 35,000 police and corrections officers, and 25,000 judges, lawyers, and clerks. A new expansion could sweep in another 200,000 people, daycare educators, healthcare aides, city workers. In a province where 1 in 5 residents belongs to a visible minority community, the potential impact is enormous. Since 2019, more than 60 teachers have left or been reassigned due to the law. Several young professionals report turning down government jobs to avoid conflict with their faith. The economic cost is subtle but real. Quebec is losing qualified workers amid a labor shortage, all to enforce an ideological purity test. Chapter 4. Faith under scrutiny. Imagine being told that your career depends on hiding who you are, that your cross, turban, hijab, or yarmulke disqualifies you from serving the public you love. For thousands of Quebecers, that's no imagination. It's daily reality. Teachers remove necklaces before class. Police officers fold their faith into pockets. Some women have quit entirely, unable to choose between livelihood and belief. Human rights advocates call it systemic discrimination. Government lawyers call it necessary uniformity. The result is silent despair. People of faith feel unwanted in the very institutions they sustain through taxes. It's not neutrality, it's exclusion by design. Chapter 5. The Political Playbook. So why now? Why tighten a controversial law when the province faces inflation, housing shortages, and hospital crises? Because culture wars win votes. Polls show a slim majority of Quebecers still support Bill 21, roughly 55 to 60%, especially outside Montreal. For the governing party, that's a political goldmine. By framing secularism as a defense of Quebec identity, leaders rally nationalist pride and distract from economic troubles. The rhetoric is deliberate, protecting our values, defending laicity, ensuring unity. But beneath the slogans lies calculation. Faith has become a political currency, spent to purchase electoral stability. Each new restriction reignites outrage, which fuels the narrative that only this government is strong enough to keep religion in its place. It's a feedback loop. Manufacture a threat, pose as the defender, and harvest the votes. Chapter 6. The Faith Response. Religious communities, though weary, are far from silent. Interfaith coalitions have begun meeting privately to prepare legal and moral resistance. Christian pastors, Muslim imams, Sikh leaders, and Jewish rabbis, many who disagree on theology, find unity in conscience. Their message is simple: you cannot legislate away faith. Across Quebec, small prayer gatherings have doubled in attendance. Teachers banned from wearing symbols are tutoring privately. Youth groups discuss identity and freedom more passionately than ever. Ironically, Bill 21 2.0 might awaken the very faith the government wants to hide. Chapter 7. Legal Landmines. Bill 21 rests on the notwithstanding clause, a constitutional escape hatch that shields provincial laws from most charter challenges for 5 years. That period is expiring soon. The government plans to renew it, likely adding stricter language to deter lawsuits. Legal scholars warn that this could push constitutional boundaries further than any law since Confederation. If extended to more professions, the bill could clash with labor rights, federal jurisdiction, and international human rights treaties. Even Ottawa treads lightly. The federal government criticizes quietly, but refuses intervention, fearing nationalist backlash. The courts remain divided, the public fatigued. And so the machinery grinds on, legal on paper, moral in question. Chapter 8. Economic and Social Consequences. Beyond symbolism, the policy has measurable fallout. Recruitment gaps. Teaching and policing shortages worsen as qualified candidates withdraw. Diversity loss. Public institutions drift toward homogeneity, isolating minority communities. Tourism and reputation. International headlines label Quebec as intolerant, deterring foreign students and investors. Public trust. Citizens see selective enforcement and grow cynical about fairness. Each of these erodes the province's social cohesion. A law meant to unify is fracturing Quebec along lines of belief. Freedom of conscience is not a costume we remove when entering work. When the state dictates what symbols you can wear, it slowly dictates what thoughts you can hold. Bill 21 2.0 isn't progress. It's persistence of control. It's the state's attempt to scrub faith from the public square, one regulation at a time. Neutrality should mean fairness, not forced silence. If Quebec continues down this path, the very diversity that made it vibrant will fade into conformity. This is Truth North Canada First, standing for policy integrity, faith freedom, and the right of every Canadian to live openly by conscience. Stay informed, stay engaged, and above all, stay free.